Nick Kyrgios has a reputation, one that he has worked diligently to earn, for being a hothead on and off the tennis court, known to lose his composure and erupt into angry tirades, as well as generally acting as the bad boy of tennis. And okay, saying the bad boy of tennis just sounds silly when you say it out loud, but that's certainly him. Does he ever feel bad about it? And what are some of his most outrageous moments? We'll be letting you in on all the details as the video progresses, so be sure to stick around till the end. Does Nick Kyrgios ever regret his behavior on the court? As talented as Kyrgios is, there's no doubt that he can often let his temper get the better of him, and it usually has some explosive results, making him a sort of favorite of clickbait sites, a very tabloid-friendly figure in the tennis world. Officially speaking, there have been a number of occasions where he ended up apologizing for something he's done, which often comes across as mandated by sponsors or other such. There have also been a number of times when he's been fined for his actions, sometimes losing out on as much as 17,000 euros for his transgressions. Even so, when he hosted a recent Instagram Q&A and the question was asked if he ever regretted his on-court behavior, his response was, well, classic Nick Kyrgios. He answered, quote, "Do I regret making it entertaining? Not being in the box like the rest of you? Winning the majority of the time? Being top 20 in the world? Nah, I love it." End quote. That's probably about the response that was to be expected. He's not likely to be apologetic for his actions unless someone with leverage on him demands it of him. He was then asked why it is that he seems to lose his cool so frequently. He says that his whole life he's been ice cold under these kinds of situations, so he expects better from himself, chalking it up to getting angry at himself for underperforming essentially. Even this year, when he's having a strong season, still, he will often be seen losing his composure and throwing some level of tantrum, and at this point, the world is kind of on watch for it. He further explained that it's because millions of dollars are at stake for his game, and he asked the questioner if they had any idea what that felt like. As all this happens, Kyrgios is currently in the process of recovering from a knee injury. He returned to action recently in Tokyo, which was his first tournament since the US Open, and there he managed to make the quarterfinal, but unfortunately, he was forced to bow out early due to injury. He said regarding this that it was the better option for his body to pack it in, saying that he has to be smart, and after hitting Thanasi earlier in the day, he felt it was the best thing to do. He noted that he had a couple more tournaments at the end of the year that he wanted to do well at. Kyrgios is expected to be competing at the upcoming Paris Masters, which will both close out October and kick off November. We'll have to wait and see if he can make a big impact in his debut at the final Masters tournament of 2022. But this video is about his big temper tantrums and freakouts, and so for the rest of this video, we'll be going into some of Kyrgios' most wild on-court happenings. How about the time he freaked out about the color of his towel of all things? We're starting off light here in terms of Kyrgios' reactions, but this one is a great showing that seemingly anything can set him off if you happen to catch him on the wrong day. Even the pettiest of grievances can become a serious issue for him. You really never do know just what version of the Australian player will end up turning up on the court when it comes time for a match. This guy can either be fun and cheerful or short-tempered and agitated, and sadly for the staff at the 2019 Rogers Cup, the latter is very much the one who turned up. During his bout against Kyle Edmund, Kyrgios had a simple but very specific demand for the officials surrounding the court, asking that he be given a white towel instead of a tournament-branded one. Amazingly, he actually held up the match over this, acting like an absolute diva, just refusing to perform before getting his green M&Ms. He caused quite a stir on the court while he waited and was overheard talking to the officials, saying that he just wanted to know why it took them so very long to get a white towel, talking about how it took them 20 minutes. He then sarcastically noted that they brought him to and thanked them. If handing him a standard towel can get him going, then it's fair to say that practically anything could get him blowing his top and causing a fuss, putting the whole event on pause in the process. How about the time he threw a chair at the 2019 Italian Open? Yeah, getting a little more violent now. Following an explosive interview in which he went off on Novak Djokovic, talking about how cringeworthy he is and how he just can't stand him, Kyrgios let loose with one of his worst meltdowns to this very day. He hurled a chair onto the court at this event and followed up by kicking a bottle for good measure in what was a pretty sizable outburst, one that overshadowed moments like Joe Conta's claiming a back-to-back wins over Venus Williams and Sloane Stephens to reach the quarters in the headlines. This all went down when he was going against one of his key rivals, Casper Ruud, following his getting a game penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct, and they were playing on a rather noisy outdoors court at the Foro Italico that day with a raucous crowd that did nothing to help his mood. He wasn't happy with officials either, and he had a heated exchange with them after the decision was made that he'd have to forfeit a game and go down 2-1 in the deciding set. After angrily hurling his racket to the floor, as per salty tennis players' tradition, he went off on the other nearby appliances who, we must stress, were completely innocent in all this. That chair did nothing to deserve this treatment. As he did this, he of course went off on an expletive-laden rant, howling that he was, quote, giving 100% to deal with effing idiots like him. I'm done. I'm effing done. I'm effing done with it. I don't give an F, end quote. And And yeah, he didn't actually say effing all those times. That'd be an odd exercise of restraint given the nature of the outburst, but that was us cleaning it up for your benefit there. I know you've such tender ears. Anyway, Kyrgios went on to put his bag on his shoulder and stormed off the court, where he was declared as having defaulted from the match. Afterward, he was hit with a fine for this incident, the tune of 17,000 pounds. Finally, we have the time when he actively tried to attack Rafael Nadal. Is that overstating things? Maybe, maybe not. A little bit of science for you. Tennis balls can fly extremely fast after being hit by a professional tennis player's racket, as they swing with a lot of strength. Routinely, the serves that kick off a volley are tracked for their speed. The speed averages in the high 90s, with a range of 95 to 130, and at the peak, they've been tracked as going as fast as 163 miles per hour. Those are serves, of course. The average hit in the volley is not generally going to be such a big swing, and as such, the range there is more to the tune of 70 to 85 miles per hour. And that is fast. Cars are often judged by how fast they can go from 0 to 60, and tennis balls, as it turns out, reach that speed and then some faster than your average vehicle. So keep that in mind when you hear that Kyrgios confessed that during his second-round match with Rafael Nadal at the 2019 Wimbledon, he was actively trying to hit him. The two of them were having quite the grudge match, obviously, and afterward, Nick Kyrgios, of course, refused to apologize for deliberately sending a forehand right at him. He made clear in the press conference after what was, of course, a 4-set defeat that he was aiming right at him, saying he wanted to hit him square in the chest, and then said, quote, "I don't care, why would I apologize? I mean, the dude has got how many slams? How much money in the bank account? I think he can take a ball to the chest. I'm not going to apologize to him at all." That's pretty cold, and it's the kind of incident that really defined Kyrgios. And that is all the time we have for today's video. Do you think Kyrgios should be more apologetic for his on-court actions, considering how often he's abusing other people in these outbursts? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and until next time, thanks for watching.